High in the Himalayas, where the air is thin and the peaks pierce the sky, a silent struggle for dominance plays out. India and China, two Asian giants, are locked in a territorial dispute that has simmered for decades. At the heart of this dispute lie two regions, Aksai Chin and Arunachal Pradesh. Aksai Chin, a high-altitude desert, is controlled by China but claimed by India. Arunachal Pradesh, a mountainous region with a vibrant tribal culture, is held by India but claimed by China. The Himalayas, once a formidable natural barrier, have become a zone of contention, bristling with military outposts and crisscrossed by patrols. The region is not only of strategic importance, commanding access to vital water resources and trade routes, but it also holds immense symbolic value for both nations. To understand the current impasse, one must delve into the past, exploring the colonial legacies and geopolitical currents that have shaped the present. The seeds of the Sino-Indian border dispute were sown during the era of British colonialism. As the British Empire expanded across South Asia, it sought to secure its frontiers and counter the influence of other European powers. This led to a series of treaties and agreements that often lacked clarity and were drawn without the consent of the local populations. One such agreement, the 1914 Shimla Convention, attempted to define the eastern section of the India-Tibet border through the McMahon Line. However, this line was never fully accepted by China, which was then in the throes of internal turmoil. India, after gaining independence in 1947, inherited these poorly defined borders and the unresolved disputes that came with them. China, on the other hand, viewed the agreements imposed by the British as illegitimate and sought to assert its own territorial claims. Both India and China, newly independent and eager to establish themselves on the world stage, saw the disputed territories as integral parts of their national identities. The simmering tensions between India and China erupted into open warfare in 1962. The month-long conflict, sparked by border skirmishes and conflicting territorial claims, resulted in a humiliating defeat for India. China's victory solidified its control over Aksai Chin and sent shockwaves through India, leading to a major military buildup and a hardening of positions on both sides. Despite periodic attempts at rapprochement, mistrust and suspicion lingered. The line of actual control, a de facto border established after the war, remained a point of contention, with both sides accusing the other of incursions and provocations. In 2020, the world watched with bated breath as a new crisis unfolded in the Galwan Valley. A violent clash between Indian and Chinese troops, the deadliest in decades, resulted in casualties on both sides. The incident, sparked by disagreements over infrastructure projects and patrolling patterns, sent tensions soaring and raised fears of a wider conflict. The Galwan clash shattered the illusion of stability and ushered in a period of heightened military deployments and aggressive posturing. In the aftermath of the Galwan Valley clash, both India and China recognized the need to prevent the situation from spiraling out of control. A series of diplomatic engagements and military-to-military talks were initiated to de-escalate tensions and find a way forward. One notable outcome of these efforts was the Border Patrol Pact signed in October 2024. This agreement aimed to manage military patrols along the LAC and restore a semblance of order to the border region. While the pact did not address the underlying territorial disputes, it was seen as a positive step towards reducing the risk of accidental clashes. Further progress was made in December 2024, when the Chinese vice president met with India's national security advisor. The two sides agreed to seek fair and reasonable solutions to the border dispute and to formulate a roadmap for future negotiations. This high-level meeting, marked by a spirit of cordiality and a willingness to engage in dialogue, offered a glimmer of hope for a peaceful resolution. However, despite these diplomatic overtures, significant challenges remain as both countries continue to bolster their military presence along the LAC. The Sino-Indian border dispute is a complex and multifaceted problem with no easy solutions. The disputed territories, imbued with historical significance and strategic value, have become symbols of national pride, making compromise difficult for both sides. The legacy of colonialism, the unresolved border disputes, and the growing geopolitical rivalry between India and China continue to fuel tensions. Finding a lasting solution to the border dispute will require a sustained commitment to dialogue, a willingness to compromise, and a recognition of each other's legitimate security concerns. Confidence-building measures, such as joint military exercises, regular border meetings, and cultural exchanges, can help to reduce misunderstandings and foster trust. The international community also has a role to play in encouraging a peaceful resolution. Major powers, such as the United States and Russia, can use their influence to promote dialogue and support initiatives aimed at de-escalation. The future of the Himalayas hangs in the balance. Will India and China find a way to overcome their historical baggage and forge a new era of cooperation? The answer will depend on the choices both nations make in the years to come.